Welcome to T4G Sports. Today we're going to talk Nebraska, Dylan Raiola, and the future because right now they're cooking. They are cooking. Dylan Raiola shocked the ever-living piss out of me when I saw the spring game for Nebraska. Nebraska usually would do, like they would come out and they'd run the ball on first down. They'd run the ball on second down. Then it would be third down and short. They'd try to pass it at times, and then it would be an incomplete pass. They'd punt the ball, and they'd redo the same thing once they got the ball again. Nebraska, watching them pass the ball has been atrocious. They went into where they just had running quarterbacks for a lot of the time. That could pass, but like last year, they were one of the only teams who couldn't pass against CU. I mean, how did you not just absolutely air it out and crush them when it came to passing the ball? CU's defense for stopping the pass was atrocious. For stopping anything, it was atrocious. And they somehow stopped Nebraska. They just would run the ball at their quarterback, run the ball at their running back, try to pass the ball and do a screen or something. It was horrible. Now, fast forward till today, the spring game, all of a sudden you see Dylan Raiola come into the mix. And boy, oh boy, everything changed. The other quarterbacks, they were they were okay. Your typical Nebraska quarterback, not that good. And then Dylan Raiola's dotting them up. It's like their offense was like, oh, here's our offense when Dylan Raiola came in. A brand new offense. Oh, you can complete those passes. Before, it was like anytime I saw a Nebraska quarterback threw further than 20 yards, I was like, surely this is going to be incomplete. One way or another, and even if it gets to him, the guy's going to drop it. Something's going to happen bad here. Almost every time they threw it deep. And then I see Dylan Raiola, and he's just dotting it. He's throwing back corner of the end zone. The guy just made so many plays as a freshman. I was more impressed with him than Quinn Ewers. I'm literally amazed with Dylan Raiola and what he could do. And to me, I think he's going to be the starter. I think that quite simply, he's better than the other talent there by far. I think Dylan Raiola showed that he is really scary. And if you're a Nebraska fan, be happy as hell right now. I would be really happy because you needed something to get you started. And getting the arguable top 3 best quarterback in the country to come, and say, hey, I want to change the system. I want to change something. I want to be part of a change. Whatever he said in those words.
Flipped his commitment late from Georgia to Nebraska, saying that he wanted to do something special, wanted to start something.
And then he comes around and starts just dotting it up as a freshman. You just got to kind of look at it and go, wow, okay, this is something to pay attention to. So for me, I think that with the Big Ten, the way it's shifting, the Big Ten got more top 25 quarterbacks than the SEC did. Many people may not tell you that. Okay, Nebraska was one of those teams that profited from that. So if you continue this upward trajectory, and Nebraska comes out and they don't just run the ball and do like Wildcat and, not like they did a bunch of it or anything like that, but even the way, it's like their quarterback was like a secondary running back a lot of the time. It just wasn't that impressive. And then now seeing them actually run kind of like an Ohio State offense. That was what you saw. Pass, they did a little mixture of both. And it was like their identity just kind of flourished from what I could see in the spring game. I also saw players playing harder for him than other quarterbacks. I saw other quarterbacks, no guys would be open, and then they would run. And, people would be like, oh, good job on finding the open. No, not good job. I don't want to see my quarterback running in the spring game because our offense is either he's not reading it or our offense isn't working, one of the two. I want to see him at least throw it and it be a contested catch, and then maybe the receiver doesn't catch. But to always run, I'm like, man, you're not really taking advantage of the spring game. You're just trying to look good on paper is what you're doing. Dylan Raiola didn't do that. Dylan Raiola was coming out there just like even when they had him dead to rights and he could have given up. No, he ran around. He threw it out of bounds, but close enough to where there was a receiver in the area where you couldn't call him for targeting because he wasn't quite out of the pocket. Just things that were polished for particularly a freshman in college. It was just Very, very, very impressive to me. And I think the outcome of this, if he can continue doing what he's doing and Matt Rule can open up this offense, the offensive coordinator can do his thing, their defense, stays true to what Nebraska is good at, which is toughness. They get a little bit better in that. This team can change within one transfer portal. Like if Dylan Raiola is crushing it by next year and he's just one of the best quarterbacks in college football, you don't think that Nebraska could open the floodgates to the transfer portal and just get just a guap of absolute beastly players in a moment's notice? Hell yeah, they can. They can definitely do that. On top of recruiting, I feel like Nebraska just needed one guy to kind of get the program, just kind of get it moving. And so far, what I saw there was like, wow, I'm impressed. And I think that if I'm impressed on that, I think there's going to be a lot of other people who are impressed with that. And I think you could see some really good play out of Nebraska football. So if you're a Nebraska fan, let me know what you think in the comments below. But I think you guys should be excited for the future because you're making a splash. You got a lot of people talking about you, and it's for good reason.